for this webinar, no matter what time it is. So, but we're getting a lot of activity on the replays, and that's okay. I understand that. That's part of the reason why we do this. So the webinars are always recorded, and then that way we just put them up as a recorded webinar replay. And the thing about the webinar replays, and if you're listening on the replay, understand this, there is in the lower right-hand corner a chat bubble. And that chat bubble does two things. It goes to my phone and it goes to Carrie's phone. So if you ask a question in the middle of the webinar, when you're listening on the replay, you will be able to get, in most circumstances, you'll be able to get a live response. Doesn't mean it'll be immediate, but you'll get a live response to that. And so feel free to ask those questions, even if you're listening on the replay, because somebody will be available to help you with that. All right, let's get started because I want to talk about funnels. I want to cover some funnel basics here. I'm going to keep my promise that this will be 40 minutes. The list for the number of people who have signed up for this webinar is getting longer all the time. So that's a good thing. And y'all feel free to share this if you've got people that you think could benefit from it. So don't hesitate to share either the login page or the replay. It doesn't matter to me. We want people to be able to get this and see it. Okay. So hello, Emery. Good to have you on as well. Let me zoom out just a little bit here so we can see this. And I want to show you, oh, come on, Eric. I want to show you a little bit here about, we're going to talk just a little bit about funnels. Talked a little bit about funnels last week. I showed you a simple opt-in where you have a free lead magnet. That free lead magnet, in that case, was an ebook. And so we showed you how to create that funnel delivery, being able to get somebody to opt in and then have them have that ebook delivered to them. And then when the delivery happens, it takes them to a sales page or a sales video where they are encouraged to do the next thing. I'm going to show you that in a very simple fashion in just a little bit, but I want to walk through this process so that you can understand that all of this is involved in that whole funnel making process. Okay, so my funnels always begin in one of four places. It's a Facebook Live. That's one possibility, is that I create the traffic from the Facebook Live. And so I do a Facebook Live like I did this morning. Emery's on right now because of that. I did Facebook Live this morning when I told people to make sure that if you wanted to be in on the Power Hour this afternoon, that you needed to opt in for that so we could give you the details. So Emery said that he wanted to do that. So we took Emery to, and so I put in the comments the opt-in page for the Power Hour, and Emery responded to that. And so that took him to here. In this case, it's not a download page. All right. It was not a download page. What instead was, it just simply put him in the queue for getting information for the webinar. And now he's on. So that's the way it worked. But the point is that somewhere you've got to get people to the opt-in page. Having an opt-in page is not enough. You've got to get people to it. And so my primary way of directing people to it is to do a Facebook Live. And that's how I do it. That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. It's just somewhere you've got to get eyes on that opt-in page. If you don't have eyes on the opt-in page, then nobody's going to opt in, right? And I see this I manage a couple of groups. One of the groups has 13,000 members in it right now. And this question comes up a lot because the purpose of that group is to create lead magnets. And what happens is that people will create a lead magnet. They'll figure out how to create an opt-in page, and then they say, well, nobody's ever opted in. Well, how are you getting traffic to that, and what is the quality of the traffic that you're getting? So that's the first thing. Second way I do that, and I do it with Facebook Live. I have a very responsive audience on Facebook Live. They tend to do and follow me because they want to do the things that I talk about doing on that Facebook Live. Second possibility is that you send out an email. Now, I've sent an email out one time about this Power Hour webinar. I haven't emailed again. I should probably do that again. But that's another way to get eyeballs on your opt-in page is to create an email. The other thing that I do, and I find this one really interesting, is I use YouTube for this, which reminds me, let me show you one more thing. I'm going to do this while this is coming up. So give me just a second, because I'm actually going to talk about this a lot. I'm creating a product around this, but you got to get eyes on what you're doing, okay? And an email is one way to do that. Another way is to use YouTube. And I have a YouTube channel. I have a couple of YouTube channels. I have one that I post information in about webinars. I have another one that I post my daily live feeds and a lot of other things in. And so I get a little traffic from that YouTube, from those YouTube videos occasionally. Sometimes it's the Facebook Live put in YouTube, and I get a different audience from that. I have people that subscribe to that. Right now, I'm encouraging people to subscribe to my Facebook Lives, and I can give you a notification that will allow you to do that. But the point is this: if you're not driving traffic to that opt-in page, you're not going to get response. And then the final thing is create an article or a blog that you can do that with. Now, there's a fourth way to do this, or a fifth way to do this that I haven't mentioned here, but I'm going to include it in a product later. And that is, I have a series of unique hashtags that I use for different things. If you find me make a post someplace, that hashtag, not in every group, but that hashtag is attached to the post. And if you click on the hashtag, it will give you all the other stuff that I've done. It'll also take you to my website. It'll take you to a sales page. It'll take you to other things. So the purpose of that hashtag is to drive traffic as well. Not a heavily driven traffic from there yet, but that is a way to get traffic to your opt-in page. The point is, you've got to get traffic to the opt-in page. Does that make sense to everybody? Because if you're not getting traffic to it, it doesn't make any difference what it is that you're giving away. You could give away keys to a Cadillac. And if you're not getting people to see it, it isn't going to matter. So all of those things are intended and designed to drive traffic to that opt-in page. And then last week, we showed you how to create that opt-in page and how to create the download page. Now, the download page does a couple of things. The download page then also moves people into this next step right here, which is they download, and that gives them the information that they downloaded. In some cases, it's an ebook. Sometimes it's a video. It might be a video series. It might be a sales page, whatever it is. This drives their traffic to them. Now, I use inside of my information page or my lead magnet that I give away, I use what I call content upgrades. And that is links embedded inside of the ebook that drives them, guess where? Into other stages in this funnel, right? The whole purpose is to get traffic, and it's highly what's the word I'm looking for? It's directed traffic that wants to respond. It's responsive traffic. If I'm reading, if I have gotten an ebook from Larry and I'm reading that ebook and he's talking about how to do some particular move and I want to know how to do that, and he's got a video series on that and I click on that, I am a buyer, and that's incredibly valuable. This is a highly responsive audience. When that audience has taken the action and gotten to here, then their next move, the next thing that they do is going to make that very powerful. I want you to see this is different than all of the pitch that you get about your typical funnels. That, you have this and then they buy this and then they move through this process and then they go to here. All that's just simply, and that's your typical ClickFunnels pitch. Is everybody familiar with that? You know what I'm talking about when I say that? Hey, Dorn. So when you have just a funnel, then you only have one way for a person to be tracked through that process. Not everybody responds that way. I don't typically buy up sales on the first time that I'm pitched them, because I've learned a simple thing, and that is you're probably going to get an email about it later. And by that time, I will have had a chance to test out the product and decide whether I'm interested in the upsell. That kind of stuff kind of makes sense. I'll forego a 7-day free trial for the opportunity to be able to test out the basic product first. Those are the kinds of things that I do. But if I have a well-crafted sales funnel, where I don't like the word funnel because that starts in one spot and it goes to an ended up spot. I really like the idea of this is an experience. I want to take the person on an experience. I want to give them multiple experiences. I want to take them on a journey, as Dorn says, or multiple entrenchments, as Larry's saying. I want to take them on a journey. And so it starts out with, I have some method of getting traffic to it. I have a point that I'm directing people to. And when they get directed to that point, then what happens next is that they then go to a download page. But that download page is also intended to have other ways to drive traffic. And really, that traffic kind of starts back all over here again. But it gives you multiple experiences. Without the multiple experiences, if my only option is to buy now or never, what are the odds that it's going to be now? Public's gotten smart enough that it's not always now. Usually, I'm just going to wait and find out because there's going to be other chances. And I think, I've been around. And having been around, I've been in multiple industries. Emory used to be in the construction business, and I know that uh, nobody's going to come to me and say, if you buy it today, I'll give you this deal. When I realized that, hey, that's probably a good deal, but they've made an investment in the product. I'm going to be able to get the opportunity later on, and so you kind of evaluate those things. You know what my position is, and it's very clear to everybody. I sell first and buy later. If I get this great pitch, then I'll try to sell the product before I ever buy it. That way, I've maximized my investment and I've gotten a good return. So anyhow, my point is this: that I want to take that person through an experience that has multiple entry points. All right. Now, once they go into the download page, then another part of my funnel is an email sequence. I'm going to send them an email. Many of you signed up for the first webinar that we did, and you continue to get an email every week. Hey, the webinar's coming up. It's coming up in 24 hours, comes up in an hour, comes up in 15 minutes. That's an email sequence. That's part of the customer experience. Okay. When I did the opt-in for people who wanted to be notified about my Facebook Lives, there's two ways to do that. You can get an email, you can get a text message. Again, that's multiple experiences for the user so that they've got an opportunity to go the path that they choose and that they would like to take on that journey. Interestingly enough, Dorn, I'm working on a Facebook bot product right now, and I'll talk about that one when the developer tells me I can. Okay, and I really love it. I think it's the best tool that I've seen to date, and I think you'll find this one fascinating. I am still working through the details on it because I've not been a bot-driven kind of a guy. I can use the automations and email, and I love it. And so that's been typically what I've done. But the next step in this funnel, not only have they got the download and they got the video, we're going to look at the video here in just a second. Yeah, I'm going to talk about how you think through, and I'm going to talk about thinking through the flow backwards, Sandy, because it's really where you want to, and it's hard for us and that's the reason why I like this little program called Funnel Mappy, is because it allows me to lay out my entire flow, and then I can go to the end and work my way to the front. And that's kind of the flow that you have to think through, Sandy, is I've got to go backwards through the process of this. A common statement that I make all the time in all the webinars that I do is you begin with the end in mind. Where do I want the person to end up at? And so I'm going to show you this in just a second as it relates to the product that I'm working on today. Okay, so the video page that we worked on last week, that video page that is part of the download. It downloads and you get the opportunity there. They're now put on my email list. They get an email sequence. And they might get reminded of Facebook Live or whatever it is that I want to accomplish with that. I now have them on a list. They're now a customer, and I have them on a list. And so the video page is the next thing that they encounter or they experience, which is intended to be a sales page. Now, that sales page, and I use ThriveCart. Not everybody has to use ThriveCart. You can do other things. I like ThriveCart, and I'm going to show you some of the reasons why I like it in just a minute. I like it because I can do bump sales and upsells. And I'm working on a product right now that has 3 steps. I have a product, a main product, which will be a $9.95 product. I have a bump sale, which will be $9.95, and I have one upsell, and that upsell will be $47. So it's the main page. It is a bump sale and it's an upsell, and I like this because it's a very casual kind of way that encounter takes place. So is everybody following with the reason why I map out how my funnel is supposed to look? Is that clear? Now I'm going to go back to the funnel that I created last week. All right, that the one I created in Convertry, and we had 2 steps with this. This was the second page. The second page is the one that appears like this. And they had opted in. And when they hit the opt-in, the page that they were taken to was this page right here. And this page, the first thing that it does, and again, this is intended to be plain Jane. I wanted you to be able to read it on the webinar more than anything else. This is not, I would make this a little fancier than that, but I wanted to make sure that you saw the components. That's the important thing to me right now. So I have the download button right here, and when I click on the download button, the download takes place in the background. And as soon as I click that, then that disappears and I'm left with the video page. Okay. Now, the video page is I'm pitching a product in the video. All right. So I've given away something. They've got it. They've downloaded it. It's been delivered to them. And now, while this is a positive experience for them, I now want to talk to them for just a minute. So I asked their permission for 2 minutes to share. And the video is a 2-minute video. By the way, you always want to make these match. Don't put 2 minutes and then have a 37-minute video on here. That wouldn't be in anybody's best interest. So, and I like to explain what just happened. Now that you've grabbed that download, give me 2 minutes to share something that will change your life. And so this is the 2-minute video right here. The intention of the video is to get them to click on this. Now, I've set this up so that the next thing is the checkout page. You can create a checkout page in Convertry. We'll look at the layout. Excuse me. Look at the layout in just a minute. Or you can, because I use ThriveCart, I can embed that that checkout page right here. Okay, so I can click on Learn More, and there it is. There's my checkout page. Okay, tells me what my total purchase is going to be, collects my email address, my card number, and then this is the bump sale. Do you see the bump sale right here? I want to make sure y'all can see the pop-up. Do you see the pop-up? Okay, so the bump sale is right here. And the bump sale is directly connected to the product that we're purchasing. Okay. So they buy it for $9.95. They buy the product that I have that I have pitched to them, which in this case, the product was, and what it's going to be is how to leverage Facebook groups to build an audience. All right. This is the product's going to be how to build a Facebook group, or how to leverage a Facebook group so that you can build an audience. How to leverage a Facebook group so you can build an audience. And what I have done to create that product, and I'll just walk you all through the steps of creating that product. I went back and looked at the last year, the 5 Facebook groups that I belong to that I make continuous contributions to. And I went back and looked at those, and I looked at the responsiveness of the people that were there. I looked at how many of those people are now following me somewhere because of the responsiveness in that group. Now, just for illustration's sake, how many of you on that are on right now on this webinar are following me, not because you know me like Carrie and Lisa do, but you're following me because we had contact in a Facebook group someplace? If that's you, just put yes. I know it's true with Larry. I know it's true with Karen. I've seen some of the people that are on and said, yes, Samaya. And so my point is, what did we do? I was able to gather an audience from somebody else's Facebook group. So the product is how to leverage a Facebook group to build an audience. Now, the only way you can do that is you've got to give value in the group. Right. And the whole purpose behind my pitch for that, or LinkedIn, in Emery's case, it was LinkedIn group. The whole purpose of that is you've got to give value in order to cause people to want to follow you. Is that correct? I mean, what causes people to follow you is that they've seen value in following you. So the next thing, and Dorn, you're also one of those people who's followed me because of the group. I didn't know you before we met in I think a couple of groups now. But this value pyramid, I'm building on that value concept, right? So my upsell is directly related to the product that you've already agreed to purchase. Does that make sense to everybody? So the bump sale makes sense. I can click on this button right here, and it will add that bump sale to my overall cost of the product. So here's an interesting thing. I'll give you an interesting stat. I have a friend who, you won't believe this, he gives away a newsletter. And he offers a bump sale with the newsletter. He uses ThriveCart to deliver the newsletter. So you have to go to ThriveCart and request the newsletter, and it's free. But something that he's going to talk about in the newsletter, and listen carefully, something that he's going to talk about in the newsletter, he's going to add a product to it, and he's going to add the product to it as a bump sale. And he's going to add it for somewhere between $1.95 and $19.95. He has about 3,000 people that get his newsletter. This is the magic, folks. This is the magic of why you use a funnel and the reason why I use ThriveCart. You can do it with other things, and I can teach you how to do it with other things, but I'm showing you how to do it here. This is the result that he got. 1 week, his newsletter goes out to 3,000 people, and 2,000 people get the newsletter, and nothing happens. The next thing that he does is the next week he sends out the newsletter with a bump sale on it for $3.95. He made $1,297. The next week, it was a $9.95 bump sale offer. And he sold half the people who got his newsletter bought the bump sale $13,000 in sales. Now, how cool is that? Now, Dorn, let me tell you, Dorn said the newsletter would thrive is new to me. It was the coolest idea I've ever seen. I'd never even thought of it. It never even occurred to me. That's the reason why y'all want to be on the Power Hour, and that's the reason why you want to share it with your friends, right? So, my point is this: there's a valuable way to use a bump sale, and they can make all the difference in the world. But you want to make sure that the experience that you're taking a person through is a positive experience, and that there's tremendous value in connecting those pieces together. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? We've got about 10 minutes left, and I've got a couple of things I want to show you. So, but I wanted you to see how to use a bump sale, because a bump sale is an important strategy. It's a very important strategy in how you develop. It's a very important strategy in how you develop that customer experience so that it's meaningful and it makes you money. All right. I have a real hard time somebody buying a $27 product and they're presented with a $997 a year annual upsell. That doesn't make sense to me, and I see it all the time. I see it in all kinds of sales funnels, and it's like, are you kidding me? Because the customer experience then is not good. But if you know where you're going, and that's the reason why this is so important, if you have a clear-cut idea of where you're going to go, and the reason why I did this, and I'm going to lay out here those 3 products that I just talked about. So I'm not going to talk about where they come from, but this page right here, this is going to be my sales page. All right. This is going to be my main product. My main product. And that main product sells for $9.95. All right. And that's going to be my main product. Then I'm going to create a second product. And let's change the name of this. And that's the main product. Let's change this one. This is going to be my bump sale. All right. So my bump sale here is going to be, hang on just a second, I'll look at your question, okay? My bump sale in this case is going to be, my main product is leveraging Facebook groups. My bump sale is a value, my value pyramid. All right. And then I have an upsell. And the upsell is going to be $47. And that sale is going to be how to do Facebook Lives. I have done more than 400 Facebook Lives, so it kind of makes sense. Good question. Examples of hard goods bump sale? Yes. Until I got shut down, we were doing that with CBD goods, and then PayPal and Stripe decided that they froze my accounts, and they locked up all my money for an infinite amount of time, and we had really good examples of hard goods with the bump sale. And the and the way we did that was that we had a product that we offered. It was a travel size CBD body butter, that pain relief body butter that I created, and we would sell 3 of those. 3 of those were available for $9. They sold for $3 a piece, and Gary says that it works. And so we would give those away. We called it free plus shipping. So I had a free plus shipping thing. And then if you while you were there, we would give you a discount if you bought a 4-ounce container. And it was a bump sale, and it worked really well. I mean, it worked really, really well until we got our account shut down, and that was kind of a disaster. And then, I had a series of things happen. I got pneumonia and a kidney infection, and was hanging on for a couple of weeks, and then turned around and had a heart attack. So I haven't been able to resurrect that part of the business yet, but that was a good example of a main product that that honestly, the main product itself, with the 3 travel sizes, we were giving those to people so that they could test out the product and say, hey, I like this. It's really cool. So yes, I've actually done that with a physical product and loved it. I thought it was a great way to do that. All right. Any other questions? That's a great question, Dorn. Thank you. Took me down a frustrating road, but it was but it was a great question. But do you see what we do here? Now I've got my details. I know what I'm going to do. This is my main product. This is my bump sale. This is my upsell. These all make sense. Okay. I'm going to talk about how to leverage this product right here. Is all about and one of the ways you leverage a Facebook group is do live feeds, right? I had a major involvement in a group at one point in time because I did a 3-minute live feed. The very first live feed I ever did, the very first live feed I ever did was on the 16th of July in 2016. Now, does anybody know what happened on the 16th of July, 2016? Very, very important day in history for Eric Mulford. Anybody want to take a guess? It was the day that Dollar Shave Club sold for $1 billion. And I did a live feed about the value of memberships as demonstrated by something as ridiculous as the Dollar Shave Club. And the next thing I know, people are asking me, hey, can you do that for me? Hey, can you do a live feed like that for that? That was so cool how you took that product and you were able to weave that into this. Can you do that? Because that's what I do, right? But it was the Dollar Shave Club. $1 billion. Guess what's on my agenda for July the 16th this year? Now that I have done more than 400 live feeds, I'm going to talk about Dollar Shave Club. And it's going to be an anniversary live, exactly. And I'm going to invite a whole bunch of people to join a membership group with me about something that I'm going to be launching. And guess we're going to launch it on July the 16th. Because those things, they become those anchor points, right? But Dollar Shave Club sold for $1 billion. And the cool thing was that the guy who'd created Dollar Shave Club, he got to stay on as the CEO, and they pay him a ridiculous amount of money. One of the coolest deals I've ever seen in my life. It changed the way all of the other razor companies do business. Incredibly successful. Exactly. So my point is this, that one of and so I have these 3 products. I have the leveraging Facebook groups, but a key component of that is how do I leverage that Facebook group using live feeds? Well, I'm not going to take a $47 product and put it in here in this product over here for free, right? That doesn't make sense. Nobody would do that. Nobody in the real world would do that. Nobody in business would do that. They wouldn't give you, regardless of all the bonus stuff that you see, nobody would really give you a $47 product when you spent $9.95, correct? So it's logical for it to be an upsell. You're going to learn how to leverage Facebook Live in this main product right here. But if you want to be really, really good at it, then you want to buy the upsell. Does that make sense? This is what a funnel is all about. It's about that customer experience so that those things are connected. Now, I've pitched this bump sell, and we're going to wrap up with it. That bump sell on the value pyramid, that bump sell, the value pyramid is, and the way we're pitching that is, how do you become the most valuable player in the group? Right? So what we have over here on my Thrive card. And where'd it go? Right here. Become the most valuable player in the Facebook group by building your own value pyramid. Yeah, there's nothing here that's bait and switch. This is a meaningful customer experience, right? Now, it would be logical for me to do this if I make this a part of a sales funnel, and I will, and if I do it in this process, then there's a good chance that this will probably be a $13.95 product by itself. But we're going to give them a special price going through in this particular situation, right? Or maybe a $17.95 product. But this is how to become the most valuable player. And it's that, how do you build that value pyramid? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to know, how do you leverage the group? Now I'll show you one more thing, and I'll wrap up with this, because this is the kind of stuff that I think makes a difference in how you market yourself. Okay, I'm going to go over here to a group that I'm a part of, and a whole bunch of you have followed me in that group, and I think most of you on right now, maybe with the exception of Emery, are in this group. And so today, this group hit 13,000 members. It's a group, a Facebook community that I manage. I moderate this community. I'm the community manager for this group. All right. And so we hit today, this morning, with the first person that I approved, we hit 13,000 members. Now, that's not bad, considering the fact that the group has basically existed aggressively pursuing growing this group. It started at 400 back on the first week in February a year ago. Today, we're at 13,000 members. 13,000 is a huge milestone. Y'all agree with that? You don't see very many groups that have 13,000 plus members in it. We're now at 13,000 plus. So this question was asked right here. Hey, Eric, can you comment on exactly how that happened? Yeah, I can. So I did, right? And here it is. And I listed 6 characteristics of a great Facebook group. Well, guess what this is? I'm writing this going, wait a minute, I know where this came from. This came from my product that I'm creating on how to leverage a Facebook group to build an audience. Because this is what you look for in a Facebook group if you're going to leverage that and make it work, right? All of this right here. So one of the things that I give people in that product is, how do you identify what a good group is? And then I did this yesterday, and I thought it was kind of fun, because I was trying to do my cool down after working out from my recovery process here, and I started doing screen captures of the comments that I've made in various groups. And I picked one group, and by the time I got to 45 screen caps, I'm like, okay, I've cooled off. I need to go back to work and do something meaningful. But there have been 45 times I'd made some contribution in a group. And I started seeing something that was really interesting. Oh, yeah, I would expect Eric to have the answer to that. That's what I want to be known for, right? Now, look at my hashtag. See what the hashtag says right here? What does it say? This is logical, right? Eric, can you comment on exactly how that happened? And I make the post, and how did I close it with the hashtag? And what does the hashtag say? Does that make sense to everybody? Is that worth $9.95? It got really quiet. Am I still live? I mean, this is what you do, but this I'm about to teach people how to do this. That's the key. And so in order for you to have an effective funnel, then you have to have a meaningful, valuable product. You have to have something else to sell, or you don't really have a funnel, you have a sales transaction. And then you connect these in a meaningful way so that the customer experience, even if they said no to the bump sale, later says, and guess what you say inside the product? You refer to the product in the bump sale, right? You don't make them feel like they've missed out. You just make them feel like that they would have much greater value if they went ahead and got that, even if now they pay $4 more for it than they paid for it than they would have paid for it originally. Does that make good sense to everybody? Are we all clear about this? And did we cover something meaningful for you today in this kind of a funnel basics, the next step? Because I want these to be a good use of your time. I want this to be something that's going to be helpful to you in the process of creating. If you create product, if you're selling product, if you're selling my product, and by the way, you can sell my product. I give you access to sell my product. Many of you are in that group where you've purchased access to my products. And this is the next product. This is the product that I'm going to use the fund next week with. So, um, this product right here, these three things right here together. The Yeah, it's kind of the same principle. There's nothing new, Emery. It's kind of the same principle as the. Um, Oh, darn, you don't know. I actually opened up and took every product that I've ever created, which are a bunch. And I am in the process of putting every one of those into a membership site. We now have, I don't know, Carrie would have to help me with this. We probably have 12 in there. We have 26 or 28 that are on the platform but haven't been turned on, and we have probably 100 that are in the background to be added. And so we've made that available, and you can sell the front end of any of those products for a percentage, and in an overblown affiliate program on steroids. And I will give you access to that in a private message, Dorn, in just a little bit, just as soon as we get off here. Okay. Any other questions? And there's some other things that are added to it as well. For example, in 2 weeks, on the 17th or the 19th, whatever day that is, we're going to do a webinar, and y'all get information about it. Be right after the Power Hour webinar. We're going to do a webinar on identifying and understanding your personal motivations as an entrepreneur, and it's based upon a personality profile. I was a certified trainer in that 25 years ago, and I've connected with a woman who is a current certified trainer, and we're going to present a webinar on that. That's another product that you'll have access to. Just a ton of stuff that is available. We also have anyone who is in that program, Dorn, gets access to Convertry. I have an agency account in Convertry, so you get the access in Convertry. We give you the sales funnels, and so you have access to the sales funnels. If you want to do a webinar like this, I can put you in connection. We can do that through my Demio account. We can do that, and so you don't have to pay for this. The intention here is that nobody has to buy anything other than access to that system. And that was the motivation behind that. I got to looking at what it cost to do that over the course of a year. And to the rest of you, I apologize because I'm having this conversation with Dorn. But what we did was I looked at that. It was about $2,800 a year in order for you to be able to sell 2 or 3 $10 info products. And so I said, that's ridiculous. Let's create our own version of Thinkific and put it on steroids and allow people to have access to all kinds of cool stuff. And so I bought agency accounts to everything that I could get, and that's what we did. So, all right. Any other questions? I'm gonna wrap up. Yeah, and Art's apart. He said he's just still exploring the possibilities. We have our own private Facebook group that we put. I show you how to make Facebook posts. We show you how all kinds of really cool stuff. Okay, um, Carrie creates the creatives for that, for social media posting and that kind of stuff. Anything else? If not, then I'm going to shut down. And it's just another one of these things that we do. But yes, Larry, I'll see you on Thursday. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you coming on today. I will see you not next week. We will not have one next week. There will not be a power hour next week. I'm actually doing my give back thing next week. And so I will not be available next week. Okay. All right. But I will be the week following that.